This is the Ronin RS2, and by far it is one of the most advanced gimbals out there, and a lot of people are saying a lot of good stuff about it. But for the price and some of its weaknesses and strengths, is it something you should consider purchasing? Well, that's what this video is about. This is my first time using the Ronin RS2, and I'll share with you some of my experiences with it and whether or not you should purchase it. So when you purchase the RS2, it comes in this beautiful bag I have right here. Opening up the first pack, which is the zip at the top here, these are some of the accessories we get. So the first one is the tripod, and you also get the battery, like so, and you have the quick release plate, which looks like this, and another quick release plate, which should be somewhere here. So opening up the second compartment, we have the gimbal in here like so. It is usually locked in place with this velcro here, and you also have a diagram here which is super helpful to let you know how the gimbal goes in place, because I get confused all the time. And with this, you don't even have to worry about placing it in the wrong way. You just look at the diagram, which is right here, then you just slot it in like so. Speaking of the battery, if you press this button right here, you know how much battery life is left. Each LED represents about 25%, so now with two, I have about 50% battery life left. Right next to it is where we have the USB Type-C. This is where you are going to slot in your cable to charge up the battery. And at the top are the charging pins, which goes into the gimbal to lock it in place. Talking about the gimbal itself, there are a lot of functionalities, as you have 3 Type-C connectors or ports right here. Every one of them does a different job. So one connects to your camera, one connects to the roving eye system, and a whole other accessories. You also have a connector here if you want to get the briefcase handle for it or mount other accessories to it. You can just slide them also in like so. Right at the front is the zoom wheel, which you can also map to do other stuff like roll or focus for you if that is what you are into. And just beneath that is the trigger, which is quite useful when you are shooting a lot of videos. Now on the right hand side, we also have the connecting pins right here, so you can mount 2 different handles at the same time, and the power button, which is also right here. Now as you can see, the screen is quite close to my hand. Anytime you are pressing or playing around with the joystick, you may accidentally end up using this. So you can double tap on the power button to put it into sleep, or double tap to wake it up. Now you can press on the power button once to lock the screen, and press one more time to unlock the screen. So the DJI RS2 is the follow-up to the Ronin S, and I must say it is packing a lot of upgrades. For starters, this is lightweight as compared to the original Ronin S, coming in around 1.3 kilograms. But don't let that fool you. This can hold a massive payload capacity of 4.5 kilograms. And this is perfect if you're someone using a beefier setup like the Canon C70 or the Sony FX6. It is loaded with Tech 2. There's a 4-color touchscreen, upgraded stabilization algorithms, and it plays nice with the DJI app for even more control. Now when you first get the gimbal, you just take the tripod out as well as the battery, and you just screw it in place like so. So you lock the battery with the gimbal using this latch right here, just turn it all the way, and everything is locked in place as one complete unit. Now a fun story is I once had a gimbal with me and we were stopped by the police, and they actually wanted to know what this was, because just look at this. Doesn't this look like a weapon? Now when mounting this to any of your devices, just make sure that the plate is in the horizontal position, not the vertical one as we are used to in most gimbals. Now once you're done, just get the quick release plate, making sure that the gray locking mechanism is facing the bottom, and just slide in your camera like so. And it's the same locking mechanism that you have to press if you want to take your quick release plate out. So press and hold to slide it in, and press and hold to take it out. The next is balancing your gimbal, which if you have watched thousands of videos already, you pretty much know how to do it. So to start off, you unlock all of your axes and lock them in place. Then you unlock the axes one at a time, balancing each from start to finish. The first, of course, is the tilt axis, which you make sure that the camera is not too heavy front or too heavy at the back. Then you just lock it in place. Then the next is you also adjust the lens facing up and make sure that it is not falling too far forward or too far back. Then again, you just use the gray locking mechanism to lock that also in place. The next will be the roll axis, where you adjust the left and right movement of your camera on the gimbal. Once you are done with that, you also lock that in place. And the last one, of course, will be the panning, where you have to make sure that the gimbal is not falling too much to the left or too much to the right when it is panning to the left or right. Once you're done, just grab the gimbal and turn it on. The next was panning and tilting at the same time, then moving downwards to your exact shot, which will be right here. And this is how that also looks. I also tried one of my favorite shots, that is panning, tilting, moving downwards, and right back to your subject. And this is how it looks. You can also put it in the pan, tilt, and follow mode, where you have your lens facing down, then you lift it towards your scene, just like the other one but in reverse. With the working shot, it looked quite smooth, as you can see in the video right now, but I also tried running with this, and this is how it also looks. With the DJI RS2, you also have the opportunity to shoot very low, like so, and I also tried that with the camera extremely low to the floor, just to see how the video quality is also going to look like, and the stabilization, of course. Now in this shot of me running with the gimbal, you notice that there's a slight up and down movement because this is a 3-axis gimbal, not a 4-axis gimbal. So there isn't one compensating for the up and down movement. That's why usually we just say that do the ninja walk with your knees bent so that it can absorb most of the up and down movements. But again, this is not a limitation of the RS2. It is the same exact thing with every other 3-axis gimbal. So if you don't like the up and downward shot, or you don't want to fiddle so much with that, then you have to upgrade to one which handles the 4-axis as well, like the chicken camera from DJI. With the RS2, you also have portrait mode, which will be facing directly like this. It's not one of the comfortable positions to have a camera in, but you hold it like this, then you make your movement. It is quite difficult because the moment you lift up the gimbal, it also lifts up the camera. So holding a heavy gimbal like this just to shoot portraits is not quite ideal. Another way to do that is to get a cage or an L bracket to mount the camera on this so that you can shoot vertical videos that way. Now the last test I did just to check how it balances the horizontal horizon is the orbiting shot. So I have the camera mounted like so, and I move around a subject. In this case, it is a tree because I didn't have a human subject with me at the moment of shooting this video. For the strength of this gimbal, the carbon fiber design is one to consider. It makes it lightweight whilst making it tough as well. So if you're someone who is going to be using this for an entire day of shoot or an extended period of time, it's going to be a lot easier on your arms. It comes with advanced stabilization, which DJI calls the Titan stabilization algorithm. And yeah, it's pretty smooth. And they even throw in an extra stabilization called the super smooth mode, which allows the gimbal to handle heavier setup and quick movements as well. And the fact that it comes with a versatile payload capacity of 4.5 kilograms, you can pretty much mount anything on this, from mirrorless cameras to cinema cameras. Not forgetting the 1.4-inch touchscreen, which makes it super handy for adjusting your settings, monitoring your shots, and even using advanced features like the active track without pulling out your phone. Now, for someone like me who doesn't like pulling out my phone most of the time when shooting at an event, just using the touchscreen makes it super easy for me. And this is one less thing to also worry about, that is installing another DJI app on your smartphone. And lastly, the battery life, claiming to run up to 12 hours on a single charge. And the cool part about that is you can also top up your battery whilst you are still using the gimbal with a power bank or an external source. Now, I use this for one of the longest traditional weddings I have ever been to, over 6 hours with a little bit of reception, and I was holding this throughout the entire event. And even so, I still came back home with around 64% battery life left, which is quite impressive. But so far, all of these are some of the strengths of the RS2, but it doesn't mean it doesn't come with some compromises and some weakness. So here are a few. And the first on the line is the learning curve. I have used gimbals in the past 5 years of wedding videography, but when I still picked this up, I still had to go through a couple of YouTube videos to know how to balance it, how to set it up, how to even mount your camera and all of that. So it didn't even come easy to someone like me, how much more a beginner. But the good part is once you are able to set it up once, it makes everything else super easy. And the next sad part is the price. For $849 or $850, this is not cheap. And if you decide to add in other accessories like the Raven Eye system or the focus motor or even the briefcase handle, it adds up to the extra cost. And before you realize, you are in the thousands of dollars. And even though you have the touchscreen to adjust some of your settings, in some cases you will still need the DJI app to control some advanced features and get some firmware updates as well. So the dependency on an app is one of the other weaknesses. So let's answer the big question at the beginning of this video. Who is this for? I would say if you're a professional filmmaker or a serious content creator, then this is something you should definitely consider. It's going to give you much battery life, it's going to give you advanced stabilized shots, and you know that it is powerful enough to handle most of the setups you put on this. But if you are just starting out with video production or content creation, there are other cheaper options which will make more sense than getting something like this. If you also need a high performance gimbal with premium build quality and advanced features, this is definitely one to consider. But that also means you have to spend some time learning it and also dig quite deep into your pocket. I personally started off with a Zhiyun Weebill Lab, then I switched to the Weebill S, and for the setup that I use, it hasn't given me any issues so far. Also, it is a much lighter setup as compared to something as beefy as this. And apart from that, even after switching to the Feiyutech scope, I still notice that it is much lighter as compared to the RS2. So for me, apart from the price, the only thing that I would say may not allow me to go for something like this is the fact that it is quite heavy. After using this for that traditional wedding that I was talking about, I felt a lot on my arms. And even though the RS2 comes with this portable bag which you can place all your equipment in here and carry it along, that is one extra thing you have to consider. If it was small and portable, I can also carry it up in my camera bag, for example. Yes, I know we have this mentality in Ghana here that the bigger the setup, the more or high quality the videos or pictures are going to look, but that isn't the case. As long as it is small and portable and it gives me the results that I want, that is definitely what I will go for. So for someone like me who uses the Nikon Z camera, the FTZ adapter, plus the Tamron 35mm f1.8 lens, all of those combined are lesser than the payload capacity of a smaller gimbal like the RS3 Mini. So I would personally go for something like that as compared to a heavy setup like this. But if you're someone using a much beefier setup, the RS2 is definitely one to consider. There's also the RS3, the RS3 Pro, and the RS4. I held the RS4 for a while and I noticed that it's even lighter than the RS2, even though they are quite identical. I think they are about the same size, if not slightly different. At the end of the day, the DJI RS2 is just a tool, and a tool is only as good as how you use it. So thank you guys for watching. As always, everything I have mentioned in this video and many others will be in the description below if you want to purchase a few. Of course, there are affiliate links, so if you want to support my channel in one way or the other without it being an extra cost to you, then definitely use my links in the description below. And as always, if this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel and other channels which I have them linked below. And as always, don't forget to share with your family and friends. This is Theo from Final Concept, and I'll see you guys in the next one.